All right, welcome to the World of Sports podcast. It's your boy John. You already know, along with Braxton. So we just need to hop right into it. NBA has finally wrapped up. The Boston Celtics secured their 18th NBA championship last night against the Dallas Mavericks. Brax, do you feel like this team has the chance to win multiple championships in the future?
Considering the amount of talent that's in the East and the competition that they went through this year, I'd probably say they got a real strong chance to just continue to win. Just because if they can bring back all the talent that was on this team this year, I think you know they really wouldn't have anybody else that would match up against them. I think this year we just seen a team that was better than everybody. They've been better than everybody all year, and I think it just got to a point where it was almost overwhelming. It would take a team like maybe Philly or somebody like that to bring in another big name to kind of go against them. But as it stands right now, I think they're the best team, and I could see them at least getting to the finals next year. I ain't gonna say they're gonna win because I don't know what the West is gonna do. But as far as getting to the finals, I think they got a strong chance for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Just like you said, like nobody really matched up with them, and then we seen what they did, what they've done to teams this year. I mean, why? Who's to say that they ain't going to do that again next year? Especially bringing back their whole starting five. So I mean, at least for one more year, I'll say they have the chance to go back to back. I think they have a good chance to go back to back. But as far as multiple championships over multiple years, that's when it gets kind of tricky. And I kind of stole this question from ESPN because they were talking about it this morning, but I just wanted to see what you were gonna say. But they were basically saying like how after next year the rules kind of change and they won't be able to afford all those players because Jason Tatum will be getting 300 mil, Jalen Brown will be getting 300 mil. That's 600 mil between those two. Then you got Drew Holiday on a big contract, and you got Derek White on a big contract. So it kind of like it gets iffy.
Well, let's talk about the series. We didn't really get into the series. So, from my opinion, just viewing the series, it looked like the Celtics were the better team for most of the series. I mean, besides game 4, that they got hit with the avalanche and probably like the most. I think there was like the third most points differential in a finals game when the Mavericks beat them in game 4, just to say they didn't get swept and come back and lose in game 5. But throughout this series, we've seen Jalen Brown stepping up, making big plays, and he ended up coming away with the Finals MVP on a team that is most people would say is led by Jason Tatum. So, what was your thoughts on that?
Um, First, just my thoughts on the series. I thought that honestly told like last night. I told y'all like the series was actually boring to me because we just seen Boston just blow out the Mavs time and time, and even when the Mavs won, it was a blowout. So it was kind of like we didn't see no competitive games really. But other than that, I just thought that the Celtics were the better team. Like the Mavs just didn't have an answer for them on most nights, and then I just think they smothered the Mavs with their defense. Like the different looks that they threw at Kyrie and at Luka, it was the perfect combination to slow them down. Because I also seen a stat last night that um in all four, I mean, yeah, in all four of their losses, they never scored 100 points. So I mean, that just goes to show you what kind of defense Boston was playing. Um, and I also seen like they scored like 300 and it was like 364. No, it was like 369 points on 364 possessions. And that was crazy because I was like it was like scoring a point per possession. It was crazy. But as far as the trophy was, I gotta make a case for Jason Tatum. Like I thought he was gonna get it just because we look at his stats, he had the better stats. If we looking at his stats, but I understand why Jalen Brown got the trophy, like because of his efforts on both sides of the ball. Like he produced on offense, but he also was the one that was guarding Luca most of the time and held Luca to those horrific 3-point shooting nights that we seen after what it was game 1. He had good shooting night from three. I think I could be wrong, but other than that, I see why Jaylen Brown got the trophy, but if it was me, I probably would have gave it to Jason Tatum just because of the numbers he had, the way he was impacting the game, averaging almost a triple double. But I mean, I'm not mad that it went to Jaylen Brown. It would have been nice to kind of see like the first co-MVP Finals MVP, like them shared. That would have been because I mean I feel like they both deserve it. But other than that, I know you hate my boy Jason Tatum, so I just want to say, he posted a tweet. Uh, it said what they gonna say now, and it was the NBA had a graphic saying that he was one of like 4 or 5 players to lead the team in points, rebounds, and assists throughout the whole playoffs. So yeah, that was yeah.
This is an interesting situation because generally I'm just always anti Tatum just because and it's not because I hate the guy. Like it's like I look at his performance in big moments and sometimes I feel like he comes up short. And last pod we talked about what we predicted in this finals, and I said I didn't have faith that Tatum would come and perform well. And in the first 2 games, I will say, he didn't shoot that well, but I will say he did everything else on the floor that made them a better team. And a lot of the things that made it easier for Jaylen Brown was because of Tatum. He was facilitating, getting rebounds, doing things like pushing up the floor and drawing that attention. And so some of that kind of helped Jaylen Brown. But at the end of the day, Jaylen Brown still had to come up and make these shots. He played good defense. So at the end of the day, I think they got their decision right. But I think we'll look back at this maybe 10 years from now, or not even 10 years, maybe 5 years from now, and just be like, dang, we probably robbed Jason Tatum of Finals MVP because it's you know, almost averaging a triple double in the finals, drawing the attention that he does, and it's not like he was horrible in the last 2 games that they won. In I think in game 3 he had 30, and then in game 4 he had 35, if I'm not mistaken, or 31, something like that. I'm in game 5.
Mhm,
He
yeah.
had 31. So I mean, it wasn't like he was pedestrian. And even in the games that he struggled, he still had 18, 20, something like that. So I think, I was happy to see Jaylen Brown get it, but I will say Jason Tatum was slightly underlooked in this situation.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I really don't have much to add to that. Just yeah, Jaylen Brown. I think this is going to help him as far as marketing wise. Like he'll be able to make a lot of more money off of endorsements. I feel like, because we don't really see him in a lot of endorsements. He kind of does his own thing. I think by him winning Finals MVP, it kind of helps him it kind of helps him be a marketer and kind of have like more endorsements. I would like to see him in a lot more commercials because I feel like he has the personality for it. But for some reason, I mean, he just don't have those endorsements right now.
Well, I think a lot of that reason is the fact that he plays with Jason Tatum, and you know I will say this, I agree with you. It is perfect that he gets some recognition because last season, joking on him, talking about he couldn't go left and all that, and then just to come back around and you know kind of work on his game and change some of his ways that kind of led them to failure last year. He said, there was a moment when Jason Tatum went down last season, or not down, but he was hurt and hurt his ankle, that his team looked at him and was looking for him to step up, and he couldn't do it. And so this year he kind of he really turned that whole narrative around. So I think that's almost storybook, the fact that he was able to do that. But I will say that Jaylen Brown, I think for him to win conference finals MVP, then go to win finals MVP, it's definitely going to be something to look at. This could definitely hurt Jason Tatum as far as later down the line when we start trying to put him in certain conversations, because we know how we do. We were doing it for Steph for those first couple finals that he won. It was he won, but he never won finals MVP. If it keeps looking like this, we're gonna have those conversations about Jason Tatum, and that's just gonna be unfortunate for his career.
Um, I mean, I feel like, I feel like he gonna get on one. I feel like, cause like I said, I feel like Boston got the chance to win at least one more, maybe two. I feel like he's gonna get him one. I just feel like this was Jaylen Brown's time, and like I said, maybe he was robbed of one. You know what I'm saying? How we gonna look back in a couple of years and think about that? So that's always a thing to think about. But I feel like he gonna get him one soon, bro, because he just way too good of a player. I mean, he had a bad playoff. He was kind of in a shooting slump, but we don't particularly see that from Jason Tatum, this time of the year. And so I think he's gonna get him one, man. I really do. I like Jason Tatum as a player, so I can't really hate on him. But for some reason, you just like my boy Eddie said, you hate Jason Tatum. I don't know.
See, and that's the thing, bro. Like I'm giving him the day. You know what I'm saying? They won a championship. I'm not gonna say too much bad about him. When we first came on here, I try to be nice and say he did what he's supposed to do. So that's all I got on that. But moving to the other side of the ball, the other side of the finals, the Mavericks came up short, but it was a great season for them just to even get there to that point. In this series, I feel like we've seen Luka Doncic kind of realize that it takes a little bit more to get to that point of being an NBA champion, and it's maybe some growing pains for the Mavericks as far as just like their guys maturing, getting that experience. I think this experience would be big for them. But where do they go from here as far as the team? Like, what players do you think they should bring back, and then like also like as far as just how they want to go about trying to get to that title? What do you think they need to do?
Um, First, I think Luca has to grow more as a leader. Just because the he really wasn't in great condition this finals, but we could kind of blame some of that to injuries. I mean, he can't do nothing about having injuries, but and then also the the arguing with the refs, like you don't see that. I mean, you see every player talks to the ref, but like every time, bro. Like it's literally every time with this guy where I see him not running back on defense because he back there arguing with the refs, bro. Like you costing your team points, bro. Like what are you doing? So like I think he needs to clean that up a little bit. But as far as where they go personnel wise, I mean I think, you know, Gafford, the trades with Gafford and Washington were good trades, but the team was kind of like still fairly new. So like I think like having an all season on there and like going in a training camp as a team, that's gonna kind of help them out a little bit. As far as pieces they need to add, I think they could kind of get better on the perimeter with shooters. Like I feel like because Luca and Kyrie attack they get so much attention, bro. Like they get so much attention that Luka is always looking to pass out into the open three man, and there's a lot of times that we seen in this series that Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ Washington or Maxi Kleber, wasn't there to hit the shot, and I think for Maxi Kleber coming back off that shoulder injury, that really played a factor in his head because he didn't really shoot the ball well since he came back. So I think that they can go out and they can add some shooting. But other than that, I feel like they're good to go because I mean, with the attention that Luca and Kyrie command, the lob threats are gonna be so easy for them um in the near future. So just adding shooting to their team, I feel like that can help them out tremendously.
Yeah, in this series, I 100% agree with you on your thoughts on Luca and his getting into it with the refs and stuff. I mean, at a certain point, you got to say, hey, the refs are paid to do their job. I'm gonna do my job, and that's just leave it to what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna go play basketball and do what I got to do to get this team ready. And I think this team needed a leader to really just. I mean, like Kyrie is a leader, but I mean like a leader on the floor, like as far as just, hey, we're not gonna get into what the refs doing. We just gonna go out there and hoop. Like I think that type of a mindset would have been so good for this team. But as far as things that they need to do next year, I think it's funny that they were playing against Boston and Boston added Drew Holiday because I think the Mavs could use a player like Drew Holiday as far as another initiator. Like we kind of see, Kyrie brings it up, Luca brings it up, and it's like we know, they're gonna do what they gotta do, but it's either gonna go get kicked out to another shooter or it's gonna be a lob. But like if there could be another person, maybe off the bench. I'm not talking about on the starting lineup,
Yeah,
but like
Chris
maybe off
Paul.
the bench. Yeah, like a Chris Paul or something like that that can get them the ball and then like, get the others involved so that they don't have to worry about that.
Then,
They can worry about being the scorers that they need to be.
But then the question is, do you feel like Luca would be willing to play off the ball then? Because there's a lot of times we see that Luca don't really want to play off the ball. He prefers to have the ball in his hand. And then that's the question that a lot of people ask. Can you win championships like that playing Luca ball where he just dominates the ball a lot of times? That's interesting because I don't know if he would be willing to take a back seat to somebody else dominating the ball.
And see, you know, if anybody was to know about that situation, about like a certain way, style of play, not winning championships, I would know with James Harden. You know, he was on the ball a lot, like dribbling and all, doing all that. And sometimes, you know, if you're gonna play that way, you're gonna have to be elite and at least try on defense.
Yeah.
Like you can't be half, you know what, and with it, and then like not trying on defense as well. Like you gotta in those games, whenever you play bad and you're the full time ball handler, like your team's gonna look even worse if you playing bad. So like I don't think Luca could play off the ball, but I think that's why I said that person might need to come off the bench or like be like a strong six man to come off the bench and just like get everybody going so that when things aren't going for them two, we can still at least have another initiator. Because the thing is, when they're not on, it's like the whole offense stalls out. Whereas if you have that other person, it's like, okay, they don't got it, but I can get my own thing. Like it could be somebody who could possibly get a bucket, but like also get the others involved. I think that'd be good for them.
Yeah. And then like you said, with James Harden, in both instances with both him and Luca, we've seen that they've been lack of defense. And like you said, you gotta be able to be willing to play some defense because we seen what defense did. Defense won the championship for Boston. I mean, they literally stopped them from scoring 100 points in all four of their losses. So I mean, yeah, Luca's gonna have to tighten up. I would like to see him play off the ball a little bit. But talk, going back to Lucas running mate Kyrie, he didn't really have a great series, this time around in the finals, coming off a hot series against Minnesota in the conference finals. What do you feel like was the motivating factor for his bad play, against the Celtics?
So I seen a stat that said he's like, well, it was 1-13, now it's 1-14 in TD Garden playing back against Boston. Uh, Mentally, I think there is something to it. I don't know. I think this the fans. Kyrie can be the villain, but I think he doesn't. I don't think he really likes being
Yeah,
the
he
villain
don't
like
want to
that.
be the best, bro.
Yeah, like he can turn it up and like when his play can be like make him a villain because like you don't want to play against that type of person, but I don't think mentally that's where he have that in him. And so I think it kind of struggled. It was a struggle this series, but I think it's just a credit to Boston's defense. I know I joke with y'all talking about he washed and all that, and there could be a decline. I'm not saying he's washed, but I will say there could be a decline. As far as like him being able to put that on every night. But I think it was a credit to Boston's defense, and I think low key it's kind of a hit to Kyrie's legacy a little bit. Let me explain. So, most of the time we see people always saying, Kyrie's this clutch player. When it comes to winning basketball, like that's the type of player you want. Well, this is a series where he really struggled and couldn't get it on at all. So, like, I mean, this could be a big hit to his lore, as people say. Like, what do you think about that?
Um, I don't necessarily see it as that because I mean his legacy was already cemented when he won that championship in Cleveland, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really feel like this affects his legacy. Also because we didn't really expect Dallas to be here in the first place, you know what I'm saying? It would be different if we thought, oh, they're going at the beginning of the season we thought Dallas was this big scary team that was gonna make it to the NBA Finals. Like nobody predicted Dallas to be here. So I mean, I feel like it helps his legacy if anything because he helped Luca will a team that wasn't at the trade deadline. We weren't thinking about Dallas making it to the finals, and so what they were able to do after the trade deadline, after adding those pieces, I think it only really helps his legacy versus tarnish it. But going back to him, what was the motivating factor behind his bad play? I think it was more so the crowd in his head. than it was the Celtics defense. Because when I think about it, the two games they played in Dallas, he had pretty good games, especially that second game they played against Dallas. So I think it was really more than I think it was really him. I mean the crowd because like the Kyrie sucks, bro. Like they were literally just like the whole. That's all you heard. Kyrie sucks. So like that could really affect the player in a way, bro. Like I know I wouldn't want to play in nothing like that. Like the whole arena chanting you suck, bro. Like that's hundreds of thousands of people, bro. Like that is crazy. So like just understanding that, and then also like I heard this too this morning. Stephen A. said that it's almost kind of like Boston has had times like Boston has always been a fan base that is known for heckling the opposing team. Like even Draymond Green in 2022 said it got to him a little bit, when they won a championship, and so like they've always been known to heckle opposing player, but like they don't really view Kyrie as an opposing player, if that makes sense. It's almost kind of like they view him as a traitor because he was once a Celtic left in the middle of the night to go join the team up the road in the Brooklyn Nets. So it's like anytime Kyrie steps into TD Garden again, no matter who he plays for, he's going to get it worse than a regular opposing player would get it because he was once one of them. And then, you know, now he's not. He basically traded him because if you remember, he said, "I'll be here as long as y'all have me." And then in the middle of the night, you go up and go to Brooklyn. So I guess they feel some type of way about that. So he's gonna feel that wrath for years to come.
Yeah, I think when it comes to facing stuff like that, like my favorite player of all time, Kobe Bryant, he could deal with that type stuff. Like that you and the thing is when you playing against people like that, you gotta cut it out early. Like if they gonna start heckling you, you gotta start hitting threes, hitting shots, showing them that you got it going. And then they gonna quiet down a little bit because, like, I mean, eventually they gonna realize that they pissing you off, and then they gonna calm down a little bit. It's not gonna stop, but like you gotta cut it out early. And so I think he kind of played into it that first game, and once that first game happened, they was like, "Oh, we got him. We gonna keep going at him," and then it just kept messing up. So I think Kyrie, like you said, it did get to him, but I think maybe next year. No, I don't know. The West is so tough, but next year that they'll all have the experience, and we'll see what happens.
I kind of feel like Kyrie would have benefited from having like a teammate, having a leader, like a LeBron. Like LeBron would have been able to tell him, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, bro, snap out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, we need you type stuff. Or like, you know, LeBron would have been able to control the pace of the game. Like when Boston is all on him and, LeBron's be able to slow it down, or we got to pick it up. Brian will be able to pick it up. Or like if he got to defer to Kyrie, he's going to defer to Kyrie. But like, I just feel like he would have been beneficial to have a teammate that would have gotten his face and told him, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you one of the best players in the world. Why are you letting these fans get to you? You know what I'm saying? I think he would have benefited so much from that. And for whatever reason, Luka didn't. I don't know if they didn't talk about it or like he didn't, but publicly he didn't get in his face about it. And I feel like he would have benefited so much from having a teammate that would have, confronted him about it. Because honestly, bro, I feel like that's all he really needed. He's one of the best players in the world, hands down. Probably the most skilled player we've ever seen play this game. There's no reason that Boston, no matter what type of defense they were playing, should have been holding this man to 15 points. It's not. It's just no way. So I think he would have benefited from that tremendously.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like you say, Luca's got some growing to do, and it takes a special player to know which nerves to hit for their players to get them going. And I think like LeBron did that in the past, and I think Luca will learn to do that in the future.
Yep. So after we come back, we're gonna talk about the NFL. They're currently in a legal battle with about the NFL Sunday ticket package. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about Frank Martin and Tank. So y'all stay tuned, don't miss it. Welcome to the world of sports, baby. Welcome back to the Welcome to the World of Sports podcast. So, like we mentioned before we went to break, the NFL is currently in a legal battle with I think a bar in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken, over the price of their Sunday NFL ticket package. Um, they're making the argument that the NFL is, the price is too high, and maybe they feel like they should have the option to only be able to buy, their favorite team's games. So what do you think, Bryce? Do you feel like they should lower their price, or how do what angle do you see it as?
So I think the NFL is in a real tricky situation with it. As for the fans, from a fan point of view, obviously I think we got to find something to make it to where like the prices is lower. Like there should be no reason why I want to see my favorite team, or at least make it to where like you could just watch your team and not have to watch all these other games and pay for those other games. But at the same time, like I see the NFL's perspective of why like they've been raising the prices the way that they have because like for example these games are aired on these local stations, for example, and like me, like I'm a producer at Fox 8 and for sports producer, and the way that the games are aired on there, like those companies, they get local ratings. They get the ratings go up when it's an NFL game. So like they want those things to be as high as possible. And if I'm airing the game, me as saying Fox, I would want you to be making that price extremely high for me to lose my viewers. Like I want them to be at the worst convenience to pay for that to lose my viewership. Like I don't want to lose my viewership on any circumstances. And if I did, I want them to have to pay out the like skyrocket prices. So like I see both sides because like if I'm a local TV station, I'm like I'm not gonna keep carrying your games if you're gonna keep like making it to where people can look at my stuff from another platform.
Well,
But what do you
well,
think?
well, I will ask this: does it not help? So say like the 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 package is less expensive, more cheaper for the consumer. Does it not help the local station that more people are tuning into their games? I mean, well, I guess nah, because then I guess it's all, yeah, I get what you're saying. All right, yeah.
Yeah, like it would be them viewing it strictly because like for example, uh,
So, cause like
they had the one.
y'all only get the ratings from like people in this area, people that watch in this area. So like if somebody else was to watch from, let's say they're watching on NFL Sunday Ticket, they don't contribute to y'all ratings because they're not watching within y'all area, correct?
Right, right. It's not contributing to their local thing, their local TV, and like that's the big thing about it. Like I don't know how exactly they would do it because I seen in the report that ESPN tried to get it and charge $70. But my thing is every sports game isn't charged. I mean, isn't aired on ESPN. I mean, every NFL game isn't on ESPN. So
I
with
guess
ESPN.
Well, I guess it would kind of be like ESPN paying the license, I mean, paying the carry. Like I don't know. I guess it would be like all the games would still be on it, but like ESPN would just be over it type deal. You get what I'm saying? Like Fox and
Yeah,
CBS games will still be on it, but it would just be run by ESPN, I guess.
right. And see, like to me, that like in charging it for $70, like I definitely see them being like, nah, like we're not going for that. But I think the NFL, they're usually good about getting it like settling a case, but like they don't want to settle this one because they don't want to make all those companies mad. And think about it, like when their Super Bowl airs, it's on those local stations. Like it's on your Foxes, your CBS. So like they don't want to piss those guys off because then it's like where are you gonna put your Super Bowl on ESPN Plus or something like that? Like people not gonna watch. I mean, they gonna watch it, but it's like you want your viewership to be high, and you gonna put it on those local stations, so you best not piss them off. That's how I look at it. There was a big fight this week, and I was definitely on Streamies watching it. I ain't gonna lie, I was not. I did not pay for that, but it was a Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. It was a good fight. I feel it was a good fight, competitive until he got hit with that brick. What you think? What you think of the fight? What you think of Frank's performance first?
Uh, yeah, like you said, he came out, looked good, looked like he was handling business, but I never lost faith in Tank. Like I knew Tank was just waiting to turn it on, bro. Like you gotta realize Tank. gonna let him come. Cause then he came in, bro, like right away, just throwing punches, boom, 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 boom. And like I told you, I was like, what? He letting Frank tire himself out, and sure enough, Frank got tired, started backing up in that corner. That's the worst position. The worst position you could be in, bro, is in the corner against the Javante Davis, bro, because as we seen, caught him with a nasty uppercut. The uppercut is really what won the fight for him because uppercut opened him up, made him put his hands down, and then there's that brick left hand had that boy head spinning like he was on a cartoon. Boy. I was like, oh my lord. But yeah, that that's I can honestly say that Tank probably is the biggest box office attraction in boxing right now. For sure. He may not
Yeah.
be the best fighter because I think, Terrence Crawford might have something to say about that, best pure boxer, but best box office attraction is definitely Tank because when he's fighting, he's gonna bring the knockout. He gets finishes. 28 knockouts and 30 wins. I mean, yeah, yeah, that's all you gotta say.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to bring up. Like you knock 28 people out in 30 fights. Like that's ridiculous. That's like I mean it's like some video game type stuff. Like you
Yeah,
don't even see that. So but I think Frank, I think, it was competitive those first couple rounds, like until it got to like 7, 8. Like he was moving and stuff like that, and like you said, he did get tired. I think maybe if had he had a couple more fights under his belt, maybe he fought him a little bit later, we might have had I won't say a different outcome, but
They
I'll just
told
say
him he wasn't ready.
yeah, yeah, he did, and I think like you just had he just waited a little bit, got a little bit more experience, maybe all of that, getting on the ropes and stuff. Like he probably would have stayed away from that type of stuff. But I think I give him credit for fighting him and because we want to see the fights. And he wasn't scared at all. Like I don't think he was running. Like he was going in for it. And I know like I had seen a clip not too long ago. They was like Shakur was basically saying like sometimes you got to say F the fans and just like trying to win the fight that way and basically running and stuff like that. I respect dudes who come out there and like say, I'm gonna try to win the fight like with my hands and try to like give the fans what they want. Because at the end of the day, we don't really care if you get knocked out.
Oh,
Like we want to see a good fight, regardless of what happens.
yeah, I don't want to see you out there running and ducking and doing all that, man. Fight, bro. That's what boxing is. Boxing is made to fight, not play defense. I mean, I understand playing defense is a part of boxing, but like, bro, throwing punches is a part of boxing too. That's what makes boxing boxing. So I mean, fans always gonna want to see knockouts for sure, no matter what sport it is. I mean, no matter if it's boxing or UFC, fans gravitate towards knockouts.
All right, y'all. It's time for the Black Spotlight. So it's our favorite part of the show where we tell y'all something good about something that some Black folks are doing. So to start it off, my Black Spotlight for this week is Floyd Mayweather. I mean, people might be wondering why is Floyd? Well, I think in this past week him and Tank have had their issues and disagreements and things of that nature. But I think at the end of the day, we have to look and say the type of person that we see Tank becoming as a fighter, like we have to give some credit to Floyd Mayweather as far as his, grooming him up to be who he is. And I know Floyd gets a lot of hate, but at the same time, one of the greatest fighters that we ever seen, and putting people in position. Like I even seen a clip recently of him kind of giving Haney some pointers as far as like I mean it was a sparring match between him and Tank, and like just pushing things forward. Because I mean, a lot of times, like people say he's hating and stuff. Like he doesn't want to see these guys do good. But like he said himself, like, what is there to hate on? Like I'm a made man. Like, and I think people should give Floyd a little bit more credit for bringing some of these younger guys up, because I think Floyd has done a lot for these guys.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Floyd. Um, my black spotlight would be none other than Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla. He became the first, the youngest head coach to win an NBA Finals championship since Bill Russell. I think he's only 34, 35, and he's a black man, at the top of the NBA. We don't see that happen as often. So I just want to give him and his flowers for leading the Boston Celtics to a championship. Um, Obviously the Boston Celtics seen something in him after they let go Ime Udoka, who's another black coach. Brax head coach at the moment. But obviously the Celtics seen something in Missoula to take him from the back of the bench and elevate him to head coach. That means he was a special talent. So I just want to give him his flowers and say congratulations on winning the 2024 NBA Finals. And we look forward to seeing y'all try to run that back next year.
Yeah, man. I gotta credit him as well. I've heard, people say that, he's really into, he's like basically a basketball junkie, like, studying things and learning things. But also I feel like he instills confidence in these guys. Like I think this series we really seen, and I mean since he got there, his philosophy is, letting people shoot the ball a lot and letting people, play how they like to play. And so obviously with some, restrictions, but I think, just he's giving this team a new life, and I think it's going to be good, for them that they have that lockdown coach, lock down a good coach for the future, so that they can win some more titles or at least attempt to. But yeah, that's all I got on that.
Yeah. Yep, me too. I feel the same exact way. Other than that, we thank y'all. We got something you want to add?
I got one. Yeah, I got one more thing. Shout out Ime Udoka, man, because like at the same time, like this is a ring for him too. Like these are his guys too. He coached these guys, man. Shout out Ime Udoka. I know. Shout out Ime Udoka. Shout out Marcus Smart. Shout out
But
what's his name?
yeah,
What's it? Yeah, all the guys that really was on this Celtics team and putting on, because at the end of the day, people, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they gonna get the credit and all that, but it was a lot of building blocks that got this team to the point to be where they are. So all of those people who played a part, they the black spotlight too.
Grant Williams was in the locker room last night.
Wow.
Miller,
See, that's got to be tough. That's got to be tough, man.
some other guys in there. Yeah, facts. But like I was saying, other than that, we appreciate y'all for watching. We had a great show. Like I said, we got a dead period coming up in sports, so if we ain't really getting to y'all like we should, don't blame us, blame the dead period. But other than that, we thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow our YouTube, our TikTok. I said YouTube, TikTok, and our Twitter. Yeah. So we just appreciate y'all. And until next time, keep it locked to Welcome to the World of Sports Podcast.